Hello. Welcome to another edition of Space Between Ideas. I'm Blank Gates. It's Monday. We're at the beginning of the week, and yeah, I took the dog for a walk. He's just chilling out here. The river is starting to get wet again. I'm just kind of thinking about what life is about and where we're going. And today, what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's a good question. So, as I was going for a walk with the dog, I just had this feeling like I'm having a problem with Cursor and Windsurf and Replit. I never liked Replit. I don't know why. I just never liked it. But that shouldn't really matter. What should matter is, can I get the product designed? Can I get it? Can I use the user interface? Can I enjoy using it? What's the winner right now for me? I would say the best tool right now for me is based on one simple function, and it's the ability to copy and paste. So I can copy the text directly from the IDE, and like then I can paste it into Gemini. So like that's what's most important. It makes my process much easier. And the two of these tools, they don't, I mean, maybe Replit does. I don't know. Anyways, the point is that we're not actually there yet. The thing is that, well, what are we going to do? I did some work on Saturday, which I didn't show you. So I want to show you the work that I did. And then after I show you that work, then I'm going to tell you about like the next step of the process. If this is your first time here, then I probably need to show you what's going on with this process. I'm just scrolling through some stuff. Oh yeah, sprint. Let's talk about sprints. Oh yeah, we got to do 2 whole videos now. Okay, so what started this process? Let me just share the screen for you, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Based on improvements, is this first prompt for the AI coding still the best to get the project off the ground? All right, so what are we talking about? We're talking about in my Arrowhead. And so what I did was I created a bunch of files inside of Google Drive. All right, so what are these files? What is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files? And then I put here, so we got the foundational 5 markdown files for AI tool calibration. Then we got our tech stack. Then we got our sprint. So I made these files, and I didn't actually show you the process for making them. So I'm going to show that to you right now. All right, so I said first AI coding tool prompt for AI. So it's talking about this. It's talking about doc number 1, whose preview is not showing up. And I'm asking, like, based on the work that we've done, what we talked about, is this still the best? Is this still relevant? And let's check if the audio works. It's wild. This thing never works on the first chance. Something went wrong. All right, you're asking a great process question. Now that we've reviewed the database schema, all right. Oh, I gave it the database schema. The assessment is that the existing prompt is still the best way forward. No major additional planning is needed before using it. Okay, here's the tech stack recommendation for your management guidance application MVP focused on the requirement outline of main array. Okay, so what it did was I asked Cursor and Windsurf about the best tech stack to use. Thank you for providing a detailed tech stack. wish I would read it.
Thank you for providing the detailed technology stack recommendation, presumably from one of your AI coding helpers. This is excellent input. Let's break down the recommendation and see how it fits our project. 1. Core stack, Node, JS, TypeScript, with Next, JS, Express plus Supabase, PostgreSQL plus Auth, plus Vercel hosting, assessment. This is a very modern, robust, and popular stack, particularly well suited for building MVPs quickly and cost effectively while allowing for future scaling. The components integrate well with each other. 2. Backend, Node, JS, TS plus Next, JS, Express, assessment. Excellent choice. TypeScript adds significant value for maintainability. The choice between Next, JS, integrated frontend, backend, and Express, pure API, depends mainly on your plans for the frontend. If a web-based UI built with React is likely, Next, JS is probably the more streamlined option due to its integration and easy Vercel deployment. Shall we tentatively assume Next, JS for now? 3. Database, PostgreSQL via Supabase, assessment, perfect alignment. This strongly validates using the PostgreSQL schema we reviewed. Supabase provides not just the database but a whole backend as a service platform with a great free tier, simplifying infrastructure significantly. This is a very compelling option. 4. Hosting, Vercel, assessment, top-tier choice, especially for Next, JS applications. Known for excellent developer experience, performance, and a generous free tier suitable for MVPs. Integrates smoothly with Supabase. 5. Authentication, Supabase Auth, assessment, highly recommended. Using Supabase's built-in authentication is significantly simpler and likely more secure for the MVP than building our own JWT, bcrypt logic from scratch. It handles user management, various login methods, and integrates directly with the Supabase database. This would simplify several tasks in Sprint 1. 6. Libraries, Prisma, Zod, assessment. Prisma is an outstanding ORM choice for TypeScript and PostgreSQL, greatly improving database interactions and type safety. Zod is excellent for validation. Both strongly recommended for building a robust application. Overall conclusion on recommendation. This technology stack recommendation seems excellent in...
All right, so he just says good. So let's do this. Do you agree? It's asking me if I'd agree. I don't really care. So yes, adopt the stack for cursor project, provide markdown file to update the chatbot in the other window. All right, so what is it? What am I talking about? It says yes, adopt the tech stack for cursor. And then what? And then update the chatbot in the other window. Provide a markdown file. Provide a markdown file. Okay, so do you recommend changing the 5 markdown files or adding an additional file? All right, so do you see what I'm saying? So what we're is we have these 5 markdown files, the original 5 markdown files, and then I added something for first prompt for AI coding tool. First AI coding tool prompt. Planning developing core concepts. This one is about backend database. Oh, okay. So this is the one. This is the prompt that I used. This is the prompt I used. Okay, we're talking about AI coding tool prompt. This is the prompt I use when asking cursor wind surf replit to tell me what they code best with. Now, all of a sudden, I'm kind of confused because Maybe that's better. Okay, this is the prompt I used when I asked Cursor about the tech stack. I see what's happening. So I described the minimum viable product, and then I explained what the product is about, the core concept of the product, the key MVP features, project management, module interaction, scoreboard functionality. So I explained all these different things to Cursor, and then I asked Cursor what it recommends based on this project. Okay, I see what we're doing now. So in that case, it's not actually part of this calibration process. Only when asking the AI code tool what they like to do for a tech stack for this specific project. So then I got the feedback from that, and it gave me, this is the tech stack it recommended. All right, so probably we're going to put this one under here. Uh-oh, what happened? Uh-oh, it just disappeared. Where are we going to put it? Not in there. There. This is the recommended tech stack. Now, in that case, I think probably we're going to want to move these two things, because up here it's the 5 markdown files that we're going to use if, for example, if we're going to what's that? What's that noise, Gordon? You think we're going to go back outside again? Because we're not. Oh, we better turn that out. Okay. Sorry. This alarm is going off. Gordon thinks we're going to go outside, which is not happening right now. All right. So there we go. Now I'm a little bit better organized. So, okay. So now what do we got? We got the 5 foundational markdown files. What is that? The 5 foundational mark files is here. This is not the same window. So I have 2 windows. You see here, we have the window that we were just looking at just now. And then I have a second Gemini window. And in the second Gemini window, I've uploaded those 5 files one by one. After I uploaded those windows one by one, I asked the other Gemini window to provide a test for the second window to see that if the second window is going to be able to, based on the 5, see, these are calibration files. Based on these 5 calibration files, does a new window understand the project as well as I would like it to understand it? So then it does the test, and then I copied and pasted it, and I put it into the other window, and it said, and the other window said, it did a great job. It understands the project perfectly. You don't have nothing to worry about. All right. So what's the issue now? Now the issue is that now I need to the thing is that, okay, so this is a calibration. Okay, so this is one Markdown. Let's say number 6. Number 6, Markdown. Tech stack. Tool calibration. So this is all right. So now that's the purpose of this one. It's to calibrate. All right. So in that case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna. All right. Go. Here's the tech stack decision. So okay. So we got Node.js, Next.js, Supabase. This is the stack. Please incorporate the decision into your understanding of the project's technical foundation moving forward. All right. So what do we do here? What we do is we copy that. We share this with the window number 2. This is the second window. So we're going to update the tech stack decision update, which is going to continue to calibrate our second window. All right, it's going to be in the background. All right, perfect. So now we go into the sprints. All right, now we have the calibration before the sprint. So let's go back to the first window. Now what I did after, so I created this technology stack decision update. Exactly. So this is the one that we were just looking at, right? Technology stack decision update. Stack decision update. It's based on the external recommendation and analysis project requirement. Based on the external, yes, exactly. So we created this markdown file. This markdown file is going to be calibration before sprint. So what that means is it's number 7, markdown, sprint, tool calibration. There. Perfect. Okay, so now we got the markdown file for the sprint. All right, so let's actually do that. So let's pop in let's calibrate our second window. Do is we're just gonna select all, copy. We're gonna jump into our window. All right, let's take a listen here. As per usual, it takes 2 times. Okay, I can see that you can't hear that. Anyways, just clarify. It's just clarifying the tech stack. All right, now we're gonna jump into that. So what's the next one? The sprint? Good. All right, so now we're gonna paste in the sprint. Now, what's the deal with the sprint? So what happened with the sprint was I wanted to give it some understanding of the process of each individual sprint. Like, what is a sprint? How are we going to do the sprint? And how did I just jump back into the original window? Okay, here's a reply from Windsurf. Now, Windsurf, it gave me a slightly different decision. So then we don't have to run the same tech stack for both Cursor and Windsurf. We can either speak to both tools and reply to their work here in this chat window, create a separate chat window for each build. I'm delegating this decision to you, and also you will make the final decision for which tech stack to use with each, whether the same or different stacks will be used for either. Do you want to ask any follow-up questions of the AI coding Cursor or Windsurf before making the decision? Now, basically it says, no, we don't need any more follow-up questions. And I think that what we're going to do is we're going to use the same tech stack for both. So that was kind of interesting, but I mean, I don't know why it made that decision. We will use a single unified tech stack for the entire project, regardless of which specific AI tool you use. Now, let's talk about sprint number 1. Okay, so I said, and change here. So I pasted that back in. It said, got it. Thank you for providing the final text. We will use this exact markdown content for official records with the 6th document. So it's like we don't need to change the document. It's fine. So should we update that file? It says everything good. We don't need to edit. Now, so it says, are you ready to create revised task list for sprint 1? All right, so remember, there's actually a book called Sprint. So before you actually run a sprint, maybe it's like better if you upload the information of this concept. If you go online, you can find a book. It's called Sprint, Solve Big Problems and Test New Ideas in Just 5 days. So I just took a picture of this image. My assumption was that it would have a pretty good understanding of what Sprint is. Took the picture. I said, okay, all right, so what do you know about this book? And yeah, so he says, you're bringing up 2 critical points before we finalize sprint 1, testing and establishing a repeatable process for each. Yeah, so I also said that. Let's read this. Not yet. There's also an issue of testing. We should have a cycle of steps that we repeat during each sprint based on the 5-day cycle described in the sprint book. Do you need a copy of the book? Here's an image of the idea. We will need to build testing into our software or connected to testing software. Also, there are other steps we can take, and specifically, we can use the brainstorm and choose modules to help us create a list of projects and objectives for the sprint. So I'm still calibrating the tool. You're bringing up 2 critical points. Before we finalize the sprint 1 task, testing and establishing a repeatable process within each sprint, inspired by the 5-day cycle for this. Oh, we just ask it to read this. Let me just share this because I know that the audio stopped working.
You're bringing up 2 critical points before we finalize the sprint 1 tasks, testing and establishing a repeatable process within each sprint, inspired by the 5-day cycle from the Sprint book, Design Sprint Methodology. Thank you for raising these. They are essential for building quality software. I see the image, screenshot the 3rd of May 2025 at 18.29.07 link to .jpg, illustrating the 5-day design sprint. Monday, map. Tuesday, sketch. Wednesday, decide. Thursday, prototype. Friday, test and learn. Regarding the sprint book process. Yes, I am familiar with the design sprint concept popularized by Jake Knapp and Google Ventures. No need for a copy of the book, thank you. While our development sprints will likely be longer than 5 days and focus on building production-ready increments, not just prototypes, the principles are highly valuable, starting with understanding the goal, map, exploring solutions, sketch, making clear decisions, decide, building something tangible, prototype, develop, and getting feedback, validation, test, learn. We should definitely establish a consistent cycle within our sprints. A typical development sprint cycle often includes phases like 1. Sprint planning, defining the goal and tasks, using our brainstorm, choose, objective, scoreboard process. 2. Development, writing the code for the planned features, tasks. 3. Testing, continuously testing the code, unit, integration, potentially end-to-end tests. 4. Review, demo, showing the completed work at the end of the sprint. 5. Retrospective, conceptually for us, reflecting on the process to improve the next sprint. Regarding testing, you are absolutely right. Testing must be integral. We need to build quality in from the start. With our chosen stack, Node, JS, potentially React frontend, we have access to excellent testing tools. Unit testing. Jest is the standard for testing individual functions, modules in JavaScript, TypeScript. Integration, component testing. React Testing Library, RTL, is great for testing React components. We can also test API root integrations. End-to-end, E2E, testing. Tools like Playwright or Cypress can automate browser interactions to test full user flows. we should incorporate testing tasks directly into our sprint scoreboards. For example, alongside a task like implement backend API endpoint for user registration, we should have tasks like write unit tests for registration validation logic or write integration test for registration endpoint. Integrating your points. Okay, let's refine our plan before revising the Sprint 1 tasks. 1. Sprint planning. We will start each sprint planning phase by using brainstorm and choose, as needed, to identify and select the sprint's primary objectives, followed by using the objective module to detail them, leading to the scoreboard, task list. 2. Sprint execution cycle. Within each sprint, the work on scoreboard tasks will implicitly follow a cycle of develop to test to integrate. We must include specific testing tasks on the scoreboard. 3. Sprint review. At the end of each sprint, conceptually in our case, we'll review the completed tasks against the objective using a touch-base approach. Does this refined understanding of
All right, so there you go. Now I said I need a markdown file to add documentation to calibrate new chatbot if the conversation is lost. And we need to complete sprint doc that contains all needed information after each sprint. All right, so what does it do? You're absolutely right. While working context process defines our roles, we need to create an additional 7th markdown file, the sprint process definition. Yes, this is an essential practice. Purpose, need to code, read API, clear, purpose, redefine plans. So our comprehensive doc. Okay, so we got 1. Okay, so here's the 7 files. And the new one is going to be sprint process definition. So did we do that one? Yeah, just added sprint process definition. Now, can I get it to read it if I typed it in? No. Well, anyways, let's see what the reaction is to adding our sprint process definition.
Understood. I have now processed the Sprint Process Definition document. This document establishes a clear, structured cycle for our development sprints. 1. Sprint planning. We'll start each sprint by identifying the focus, potentially using brainstorm and choose if needed, then formally defining the sprint goal using the objective module. Based on the objective steps, we'll create the scoreboard, sprint backlog, crucially including tasks for both development and testing. This results in the sprint_n link to _plan.md. 2. Development. During the sprint, we'll focus on writing clean, well-documented code according to the standards of our chosen tech stack. Next, JS, TypeScript, Prisma, Supabase, Vercel, with regular, clear Git commits. 3. Testing. Testing, unit, component, integration, E2E as applicable using tools like Jest, React Testing Library, Playwright, Cypress, will occur concurrently within the sprint, addressing the testing tasks planned on the scoreboard. 4. Review. At the end of the conceptual sprint, we'll use the touch-base framework to review the completed scoreboard tasks against the sprint goal. We'll document the outcomes, including accomplishments and any incomplete work, in the sprint_n, linked to _review.md. I understand this plan to develop to test to review cycle and the importance of integrating our application's own methodology, VOS-TBC, into the planning and review phases. The requirement to include specific testing tasks on the scoreboard from the outset is also clear. I will follow this process for our sprints moving forward. We are fully equipped with the project overview, structure, module specs, development strategy, tech stack, visual aids, working context, and now the sprint process definition. Let's begin executing Sprint 1, establish foundational infrastructure and authentication. Which task should we start with, keeping this process in mind? Options include 1. Define initial database schemas, models, users, projects, module instances, scoreboard tasks, using Prisma. 2. Set up the Supabase project, which handles DB and auth services. 3. Initialize the Git repository with a basic Next.js TypeScript structure.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, where are we? Okay, so we just uploaded the 7th markdown file. Tech stack. let's just change this to tech stack calibration. Let's do sprint calibration. Five, project based calibration. Well, why did we need five? Who cares about five? So we got A, we got project based calibration, we got B, we got tech stack calibration, and then C, we got the sprint calibration. And now we're into sprint one. So sprint one. Now the thing is, before we do sprint one, I don't know. So this is an interesting concept because I remember there was some kind of, we were talking about this thing before about sprint, define goal if needed, review phase. See, I'm kind of curious. Based on your understanding of software development, I don't need to do this. I can just talk. Based on your understanding of software development and thinking about the steps that would need to be taken in order to complete this project, use the brainstorming module and let's start to talk about what are potential phases or sprints. What would be the sprints needed to take this project from the very first day until project launch? I just want to know what are the sprints. What are the titles of the sprints? What is the well-known process that people go through when developing software? All right, so now we're back into dueling pianos, meaning that I've calibrated this window 100% using my calibration documents, which means I can easily recalibrate any AI tool just using the documents which we've used in the past. Now I'm asking it for advice for the first time.
Okay, let's use the brainstorm module framework to think about the potential sprints needed to take the project core MVP development from its beginning, which is now focusing on sprint 1, all the way to a potential MVP launch.
Yeah.
We'll consider standard software development practices and the specifics of our application. Brainstorm, potential MVP development sprints. 1. Imitate trends, learning from standard practices. What are common phases in web application development? Setup and foundation, environment, database, auth, basic structure. Core feature development, building the main functionalities. UI, UX implementation, creating the user interface based on designs, mockups. Integration and polish, connecting different parts, refining the user experience. Testing and bug fixing, dedicated phase for stabilization. Deployment and launch prep, getting ready for production. How are SaaS MVPs typically sequenced? Often start with authentication and core data models. Build out one core user flow end to end first. Iteratively add other features or flows. Focus on functional over pixel perfect initially, then polish. 2. Ideate, novel ideas specific to this project. Could we structure sprints around the core DOS TBC modules? E.g., vision and objective implementation sprint, scoreboard and touch-based sprint. Maybe focus sprints on user journeys? E.g., project creation and vision setting sprint, objective planning and scoreboard generation sprint, scoreboard execution and touch-based loop sprint. A sprint dedicated purely to the history functionality across modules? Should we have a sprint focused only on the data relationships and ensuring Prisma models are robust before building complex UI? 3. Ignore anti-patterns to avoid. Avoid leaving all database modeling until late in the project. Don't build all back-end APIs first without considering the front-end needs. Avoid deferring all testing until a final QA phase, integrated into each sprint. Don't neglect deployment considerations until the very last sprint. Avoid building features without corresponding UI elements for too long. 4. Integrate, combining ideas for better flow. Combine back-end API development with the front-end components that consume them within the same sprint where feasible, e.g., build project API endpoints and the project's page UI. Integrate basic testing, unit, component, within the sprint where the feature is developed. Ensure the foundational sprint, Sprint 1, truly enables subsequent feature sprints. Structure sprints such that a demonstrable piece of user value is produced frequently. Perhaps pair related modules in sprints, e.g., objective and scoreboard creation. 5. Interfere, building our unique value proposition effectively. Ensure sprints prioritize building the core guided module experience, V, O, T, B, C, as this is the key differentiator. Maybe have an early sprint focused solely on implementing the objective to scoreboard generation flow, as it's central. Ensure the simplicity principle guides sprint scope. Avoid adding complex features not essential for the core methodology MVP. Synthesized potential sprint sequence, titles, themes. Based on the brainstorming above, here's a potential logical sequence of sprint themes or titles for the MVP, starting with the one we already defined. 1. Sprint 1. Foundations and authentication, current focus, goal, setup infrastructure, Supabase, Vercel, database schema, Prisma, basic auth, Supabase auth, project structure, next, JS, TS, rationale, essential groundwork before any features can be built. Imitate, ignore. 2. Sprint 2. Project management and vision module goal. Implement project CRUD, create, read, update, delete, on the projects page. Implement the vision module, UI and data storage, rationale, establishes the top-level container, projects, and the first core module, vision. Integrate, interfere. 3. Sprint 3. Objective module and scoreboard generation goal. Implement the objective module, UI, data storage. Crucially, implement the logic where objective step answers populate the initial scoreboard tasks. Implement basic scoreboard display, read only for now, rationale, tackles a core, unique workflow of the application early. Interfere, ideate. 4. Sprint 4. Scoreboard interaction and touch-base module goal. Implement full scoreboard CRUD, editing tasks, status dropdowns, person, date. Implement the touch-base module, UI, data storage, and
Okay, I get it. Now the thing is that what I want to do now is I want to just take the recommendation on from one guy, and then I'm going to take it back to the second guy. Before we get started, I know that your opinion is that we don't necessarily need to outline all of the sprints, but I think it could be a benefit if we have a general understanding of a potential process for how we're going to deliver these sprints. Also, I think that people have been developing software for a very long time, and therefore there should be an idea about best practices when it comes to developing software and what we need to do first and what we need to do next. So, although we might not have a complete understanding of all of the details, I think it could be helpful if we use the brainstorming module in order to think about how we might lay out the sprints. Do not reply to this prompt. I'm going to upload the brainstorming that I've gone through already, and I want you to look at what I've written and then consider each of the ideas that I've presented, and then use the brainstorming tool to compare and contrast the recommendations that I'm providing, and then just figure out if those are the best recommendations moving forward. And then after you've reviewed my recommendations, take the role of an architect and a project manager, and then use the brainstorming tool yourself and come up with an overall design of a flow of sprints that would give us the best possible chances for success. All right, so what it's going to do now, hopefully, is it's not going to do anything. It's just waiting for my... So then now I'm just going to take the ideas from the one page, and then I'm going to post them into this other page. Yeah, exactly. So then I just upload that. And let's take a little bit of a break. We'll come back in 10 minutes and we'll find out what it recommended. So I'll catch you in a little bit.